And I'm Vanessa, and welcome to another episode of Up to Your Ears. Who is our guest today, Josie?
Today we have the one and only Frenchie Smith.
In the streets, but we ain't looking for a fight.
Very exciting.
Awesome.
He's produced tons of bands. I can't even begin. I'll begin.
Please begin.
Bands like The Darkness, The Dandy Warhols, Jets, Meat Puppets, Slayer, Ringo Death Star, and that's just to name a few. And he used to be in a band called 16 Deluxe. Sixteen Deluxe was formed in Austin in the 90s, and they were kind of like the it band. Female vocalist, kind of reminds me a little bit of the Breeders. I hope that that's not offensive to them, but I love the Breeders personally, and they have that kind of pop rock feeling, and they're just, all their records are really good. They actually got back together, I think 2010 or 2012, to do a reunion show, and I got to see them, I think during South by Southwest, and they were so fun. It was really good to see Frenchie playing guitar and not like in the studio working. He has a studio called The Bubble, by the way, and it's here in Austin. And if you ever get a chance to record there, do it. They just did some renovations to the studio, and it's so killer. It's really beautiful, beautifully done. And yeah, check it out.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being tolerant of just my ability to confirm anything. It's I guess like everybody, is this magic, or is there one of 20 things I'm going to react to in a particular way? And I refer to them as Santa's bag of bullshit.
I love that. Frenchie, I think you're going to love my questions.
Yes.
Josie and I have devised a questionnaire called Truth or Protect Your Rep.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll just roll with it.
He says he can't wait. All right, everyone, it's time for Truth or Protect Your Rep with Frenchie Smith. Question number 1. What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
That was pretty easy. Without a doubt, my favorite cartoon was Scooby-Doo because, Casey Kasem as Shaggy, his voice, and every episode had a rock song in it, like state-of-the-art 60s, but it was all from the 60s, that Hanna-Barbera era, that classic thing that, the more I would study Hanna-Barbera and some of their methods, they were pretty out there. That spilled into the Banana Splits, and which once again was a rock band in the form of a monkey, an elephant, a dog, and they all played just awesome gear that I still love, like Vox Continental keyboards, Vox guitars with a built-in fuzz switch, Ludwig drum kits, like Ringo approved. So, but definitely like a vintage Scooby-Doo. And if we fast forward, I was playing in a band called Young Heart Attack, and we were touring different countries, and we had some dates in France, and it was my first time to be in France. Amazingly, that night I had my own room, and there was some kind of 1960s Scooby-Doo on French television. Aggie was not like zoinks, it was like zoinks. This is amazing.
All right, next. Do you dabble in the dark arts? Spells and such.
I mean, I think that musically, there'll definitely be times where if you use a reverse sound, or some kind of demented ambient effect or some kind of flanging element that makes a part go, you know, it sounds like one of the snakes in, you know, Harry Potter. Oh, Harry Potter, you know. So I'd say that's about as dark as I go. Fearlessness, and they do struggle to put themselves in the same vulnerability that those groups did, and you know, they start hearing some of those effects have a bit of a democratic voice in their music. It can be unnerving for them. So I just try to navigate how much of that process is going to make people want to get a restraining order on me, or they can adapt it as their own.
Excellent answer. What's the first thing or things that come to mind when you hear the phrase "all you can eat"?
All you can eat. Not for me, you know.
Excellent answer. I'm with you.
Which part of this is going to kill me?
You could add one piece of equipment to your recording studio. What would it be?
The Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am on cinder blocks in the parking lot. A custom welder to be able to make it a stretch limo where an entire band can go in and do the car stereo test in it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that would be rad.
You know, like 8 people in it. You know, like a mini bar.
Photo booth?
Absolutely.
Anybody listening out there, make this happen for Frenchie Smith. This is a necessity, I think. This will make the world a better place.
The biggest issue, but and then, you know, to take it up a notch, you know, the Trans Am would be Van Halen, you know, striped paint. You know.
Ooh, yes.
So it just kind of let everybody know that I'm a real classy person.
I think it'll let everybody know what time it is.
Yeah.
All right, last question for me. If you could have any wild animal as your pet, what would it be and why?
Yeah, probably like a dragon. You know, that could just kind of fly to the grocery store on its back and out of your tasks in the day by just jumping on your dragon's back and just flying places.
Almost like a service animal for you.
Absolutely. You know, and I think the dragon probably could also shapeshift and get small by adding water to it and live and be the guard animal of the Trans Am.
I like this a lot.
Oh my gosh, please tell me, what is your dragon's name? I have to know.
Stanley.
If you happen to find yourself on death row, what would your last meal be?
Soft shell crab from Irene's in New Orleans.
High as a kite, watching the city fly by.
What's the weirdest venue you've ever played?
I was in a band called 16 Deluxe that still will play here and there, but our prime was certainly 1994 until the year 2000. And now if we play a show this century, we are a tribute band to ourselves with the same people in the band. In 1995, we played a venue called the Limelight in New York City, opening up for Hawkwind. And that was the strangest venue. It was very adult. It was Manhattan. Historically, it was a hotbed of some pretty loose behavior, and there was a stage. It was in an old church, and you know, just like a cathedral, but not in Brooklyn, or I mean, it was in Manhattan. And so there was the stage, and then, you know, the club had multiple levels, and I started going up these stairs, and each stair said sexy, slutty, ninja, and every step that you stepped on kind of lit up the next step that you would see. And so I just kept following that where it went, and I really had no idea what was going to happen to me. I kept my eyes wide open at that gig. It was probably like 8 little micro rooms and big rooms, you know, collectively. And, you know, certainly had a giant influx of indie rock, psychedelic, hard rock, just the splatter of New York, the aftermath of whatever people thought Studio 54 was, just adult level all the way. And it was good. It was a good show too.
Jesus, that's crazy. Okay, next question. What is an article of clothing or a piece of clothing that you cannot live without?
There are 2, and they're my own indie rock version of a Darth Vader costume, but my glasses and my hat. If I don't have my glasses on, I can't see. If I don't have my hat on, I'm either cold or I'm getting sunburned. So they're one unit. I'll see other dude bros adopting the hat and the glasses, and I guess I didn't invent either, but it's a questionable look. So if anyone's adopting it, you know, I feel bad for them. You know what I mean? You got to think fast if you're bringing that to the party.
Yeah, right.
You got to get that dragon and fly away.
More questions. Right. What is the strangest thing a fan has ever given to you or said to you?
I actually got a letter, a man that was convicted of some pretty bad crimes, and he had asked me if I played guitar or produced this particular record that thought I had played on it. And in my heart, I couldn't write him back and address it, because the crimes that he was charged of, they were too dark. And so that was strange, because I, you know, in my mind, the show must go on. Someone shows you positivity, even if it's a little bit sticky, or they're a little moist in their compliments, however you want to look at it. Or they have really decided to dominate your evening at a particular nightclub. I've just kind of been the type of person that goes with it, because I understand in whatever small microcosm my music has lived in, it's a privilege to have acceptance from people, no matter what form it is, if they're not hurting me. But that was the strangest thing, was to get a letter from someone that was in prison. And I was extremely conflicted, because so I never wrote them back. I didn't fit that square.
Yikes.
What do you think the reasons were, or did he tell you what the reasons were that he wanted to know that?
Well, the guitar player on the recording, of all things, is someone I do know, and is someone that probably 5 years prior spent a little bit of time talking to me about guitar sounds. And so, yes, hell yeah, I influenced that guitar sound.
So it sounds like he liked it and was trying to make a connection with you then?
He picked up on something that I did not pick up on. And for sure, I cannot take any ownership in that amazing musician's drive, ambition, and talent. That person is a much better guitar player than I am.
Okay, the last question I have for you, Frenchie, very last question, is what advice would you give your 15-year-old self?
Keep your mullet.
You heard it from the man himself, people.
Keep the mullet. What is it?
Surround yourself with people that are like-minded dreamers, and then to identify that a dream destroyer is not inherently going to tell you who they are. However, they will tell you that they are not a dream believer or a dream enabler. So to find your kind, that it can serve you a lot of positivity. However, if you're going to try to do musical things with people, then really police yourself. You know, what are you doing to keep that imagination alive and fastidious and abundant and growing?
That is awesome advice. We could all use that.
Yes,
I know what you have going on right now. Is there, I heard through the grapevine that 16 Deluxe was doing a single. Is that right? Or did I not hear that right?
You did hear that right. So that the group had made a song this summer, and we're going to find out when that comes out. The idea is that it's going to be a part of a greater pool of songs. So it's a charitable cause that will go through Red River Cultural District. And the idea is that the proceeds of the sale of this virtual album, and with 16 Deluxe making a contribution and debuting the song on this thing. So, you know, like means like, you know, 20 people are stoked. But the idea is that it's gonna help with an organization called Banding Together. That will help get food, money, or like a food debit card to musicians and nightclub workers. So it's that raw. So it made us excited to participate. We were, well, who's got a song? And I just, you know, I was like, oh, I could finish this idea I had. And so that was pretty neat. Beyond that, you know, I'm still producing records at the Bubble, the studio in Austin, Texas, that Alex Lyon is the studio big chief and owner, and I'm more of a operations owner and kind of a worker bee there. We're probably about 1 year and 7 months into relaunching like this super version of the Bubble. So, which really works well with my inherent inquisitive paranoid nature. Record producer, did you look up record producer? And controlling. Did Ringo shut up? You know, it's you know, one thing that I've seen this multiple times throughout 30 years. Some of the most conscientious and self-aware people, and the first people to be generous when there's a problem, are musicians. So we might be branded as heathens or hooligans or mouth breathers or self-centered, and maybe we are all those things. And fuck yeah, we are. Somebody's got to keep rock and roll dangerous. My bands do that. However, when it gets real, musicians that I know are way more holy than politicians, cops, world leaders. You know, you know, I
have experienced the same thing where I feel like the musicians and the artists were the first ones to say, as much as we love going out and that is our life, we'll shut it down. We'll stay home.
And just the accountability. And I think it's probably because if what you're as a visual artist, a filmmaker, a poet, an instrumentalist, a lyricist, any type of band leader, band member, all of that type of stuff, you know, if you embody one of those characters, you're the rapper, you're the DJ, you're already so self-aware, and if you're quite good, you're already a massive self-editor. So just how am I editing my behavior? And I'm actually seeing the best performances of my career. You know, like before we were of the mindset, yeah, it'll be cool to get in the recording studio. It's going to rock. Yeah, man, we're going to kick ass. So we had like that base level of, yeah. Now it's more humble, and we're very grateful.
Well, listen, we'll let you go because I know you have a ton of shit to do, but let's get together. Oh my God, Ringo, stop staring at me. His little sidekick, Ringo.
Hey, if I was going to have a sidekick, Ringo's a pretty good one to have, I think.
I think so, yeah, for sure.
Josie, that was such a great interview with Frenchie Smith. So talented, so creative, so amazing. We hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and we hope you'll tune in for more. Please like and subscribe. This has been Up to Your Ears. I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Josie.
Sounds good.